Alhamdulillah, Allah has given us the tawfiq to sit together and to listen more about the commentary on His blessed book. And alhamdulillah, and He said in His book, وَلَئِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, and if you show appreciation, then we will increase you. So we thank Allah for giving us this time, and we thank Allah for giving us this ability. And alhamdulillah, it's a beautiful day. The rain is falling from the sky. And it comes in tradition that with every raindrop there's an angel. So this is one of the mercies from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And from that mercy, you know, the grass, what's left of it in the city, gets green. And the countryside is beautiful to look at. There's probably no more remarkable of a landscape than in the Bay Area, especially in this time of the year. And after it, like when it starts to dry up, because everything is really, really green, and the hills are rolling, and they're lush, and they're green. And Allah gives us all these things so that we can look at them, and appreciate them, and thank Him for it. It's of no benefit to God that we thank Him. If every creature on the earth, ants, snails, humans, platypus, I think the plural of that is like platypi, platypuses. If all of these things were to be as remarkably pious as the Prophet ﷺ, and to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with full praise, none of that would increase God in His essential praiseworthy nature one bit. And if every creation on the earth, from the atomic level to the angelic realm to whatever is above that, was to be as rebellious and despicable as shaitan, Satan the rejected, it wouldn't decrease Allah's essential greatness and praiseworthiness one bit. But rather, when we sit and we remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and when we try our best to notice and to thank Him for the many gifts that He's given us, all it does is soften our own hearts. And by way of softening our own hearts, it makes us praiseworthy individuals. When your heart is soft, and when your heart is layyin, you can say pliable, when your heart is in that state, it causes you to be able to understand and to appreciate the situation that is around you, and to be soft enough to be able to receive the idea that perhaps you may not know everything, you may not understand everything, that you may never know or may never understand everything. And that reality of realizing oneself, it causes oneself to realize what's called ubudiyya, the state of slavehood. And this is one of the main reasons why you have in the beginning of the different surahs of the Quran, the different chapters of the Quran, these letters. For example, Allah mentions, Asta'id billah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alif Lam Mim, or just one letter, Noon. These kinds of occurrences in the Quran are there to, for many reasons. One of them is to soften the heart of the reader to know that you don't know anything. And if you knew everything, or even if you know something, then how come you can't even explain the meaning of one letter? It's just a Noon. That's why when we sit and read the Quran, it gives us perspective. And when we sit and listen to the exegesis of the different exegete scholars, those who make commentary of the Quran, you're amazed that even sometimes one scholar will read the Quran again and again and again, and he'll have different tafsir. He'll have different explanations. Is he contradicting himself? Is she somehow admitting her lack of knowledge previously? It's not that way. It's a matter of fact, that's the superior Quranic reading. That every time you read the verses, different meanings come to you. This is the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has no end. It has not one specific definition. It might have a definition that everyone has agreed upon, for example, but it doesn't have a definition that is stagnant. But rather, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are applicable for all times, all places, all spaces, and they might apply to you in a way that the person next to you doesn't see. And mashallah, that's for you. That's for your own development. You notice in the Quran also that the Quran is a book wherein there have been archetypes. There have been universal symbols placed inside of it which are applicable to every particular situation. So the Quran is a book of universals that indicate particulars. So my life and your life is a particular, whereas the Quranic paradigm, the Quranic perspective is a universal. It took particular instances to have the verses revealed. And this is what we call asbab al-nuzul, the reasons, the means by which the Quran was revealed. You'll see that when you read them. But don't think that the verses are limited to those circumstances. They definitely give a context. But even from the context of language itself, the Quran is something which is not limited to time or to space in terms of understanding and application. Alhamdulillah. So, right now, inshallah, what we're going to do is read the penultimate chapter. Anyone know what that means? Penultimate? It means second to last. That's a vocabulary word today. The penultimate chapter and the last chapter of the Quran. These are called al-mu'awwidatan, the two chapters wherein refuge is sought. So you seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with these two surahs. And also Surah al-Ikhlas, which we sat together and read before. Surah al-Ikhlas is actually a surah that's also read with these mu'awwidatan before going to sleep at night. It's also a type of ta'weed, it's also a type of seeking refuge, Surah al-Ikhlas, because you're seeking refuge in God from the veil of multiplicity. You're seeking refuge in God from the veil of the consideration that there might be more than one God. So when you say, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, it's also a type of refuge. The Prophet ﷺ was told what to say. We say the same thing. And in pondering that chapter, for example, a person is able to seek refuge from the veils of multiplicity, of the mirage of multiple doers, from the mirage of multiple gods, from the mirage of from the mirage of the impossible scenario of there being more than one creator in the universe. If there was more than one creator in the universe, you wouldn't see a universe because they would argue about how it's supposed to be. And if they argue about how it's supposed to be, then the one who wins or the one that loses can't be a god. So it doesn't really go anywhere. Alhamdulillah. So this idea of ta'awudh in Arabic, it linguistically means seeking refuge. Ta'awudh. If you say a'udhu billah, you're saying I literally seek refuge in God or with God. Right? To seek shelter or protection in Him from danger or distress. What better thing to seek refuge in than the creator of danger and the creator of distress? So you're walking down the street, you see somebody has some dogs. One dog is named Danger, and the other dog is named Distress. They're Rottweilers. Rottweiler, German Shepherd, and Cujo. All mixed up. Right? And you see this dog, and luckily you know the owner, like he's a neighbor of yours. So what would you do? Would you start screaming at the dogs and getting excited? They love that when you do that. You know, when you look panicky and all that, they love it. It's more of a hunt for them. Your arms are flailing and all that, and they really enjoy it. Danger and Distress, the Cujo twins, they like it when you freak out like that. No. All you got to do is speak to the owner of the dogs and say, hey Mike or Muhammad or whatever, can you take care of your dogs? Because they're acting crazy and it's kind of scaring me a little bit. Calmly. Oh, I'm sorry about that. No problem. Yeah, they didn't eat yet this morning. You look tasty to them. Just kidding. Right? You have even a jovial relationship with Mike, Muhammad Mike. His name is Muhammad Mike. Right? That's ta'awudh. That's seeking refuge in God. It's not denying that there's danger or distress in the world. It's not doing that. It is denying that danger or distress are independent from their master. That is the denial. So you have to be a monotheist. You have to believe in the oneness of Allah to be able to seek refuge from these distresses. One of the problems about multiplicity and polytheism is that if you seek refuge, you have a plethora of people you can seek refuge in God, or you can seek refuge from. So you're turning to one, you turn to the other, you turn to the other. If one doesn't suffice you enough to be able to get refuge, then that can't be your God. You shouldn't have a choice. Right? You shouldn't have a choice. It should be, no, I know who to go to. So it'd be like, for example, here's a scenario with the dogs. You have danger and distress. The Cujo twins are in front of you, and you look tasty to them. So they're walking around with 5 or 6 masters. And you're going to one, you go to the other, and you go to the other, and you can't find which one is the actual master. Then none of them can be the master then. Likewise, every single distress in the universe, every single problem, every single worry, every single sense of every sense of difficulty and problem, ta'awudh is going to the master in those things. So know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He actually creates the problems. Now one of the problems that God has created is the situation of what's called sihr, or magic. And magic is real. The Muslim, we believe that magic is real. We don't believe in magic, right? We believe magic is real. It's not a joke. It's not something that is limited to Disney productions. They make a joke out of this stuff, but it's real. And magic, as it is, it has certain effects on people. I asked one of my teachers, Shaykh Mahi Sise, I asked him about the nature of magic, and he said actually magic is it's not very easy. You have to know it. It has to be taught to you. So it's not like you can't just. A lot of people run around, and for example, in our society, especially people from the East, they tend to be a little bit more, you can say, aware of magic than Westerners. Maybe a certain hyper awareness where they blame everything on magic. Oh, I'm a mashur. I've been afflicted by magic and this, and you're like, no, you're not. You just you just need to go see a doctor. You have psychological. There's a difference between these things. People do have legitimately. They need to see a doctor. They need to take medication. That's true. But not every single psychological issue can be blamed on someone, casting magic on you or something like that. So, let it be known that it is real, it is true, but it's not the source of every evil in the world or problem that you might be having. People who are afflicted by magic, they might experience some of the following. So, for example, dislike of one's spouse. Well, there it is. That's why I don't like her. That's why I don't like him, is the magic. Right? And this is from the Quran itself, and from the angels, Harut and Marut, people learn that which they would cause separation between man and wife. It's Al-Baqarah. Now what happens is Allah Ta'ala in Babylon, He sent down angels to teach people different things. Among the things that He taught the people was magic. That the angels taught the people was magic. Now before teaching them, He told them that we are teaching you, we are just a trial for you. We're simply a trial. In other words, beware. And Shaykh Ibrahim, in Tafsir, he mentioned about this, that the reason why God gave permission for these angels to teach people amongst these things magic was so that people will be able to see a difference and know the difference between a miracle and magic. So for example, later on when Musa ﷺ, when he's in front of the court, or when he's challenging Pharaoh, right? The magic that the magicians came with was nothing but what had come down from the angels in the past. So even everything is from Allah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no power, no ability, and no power except by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, Allah has given us the tawfiq to sit together and to listen more about the commentary on His blessed book. and alhamdulillah. And he said in his book, وَلَئِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, and if you show appreciation, then we will increase you. So we thank Allah for giving us this time, and we thank Allah for giving us this ability. And alhamdulillah, it's a beautiful day. The rain is falling from the sky. After it, like when it starts to dry up, because everything is really, really green, and the hills are rolling, and they're lush, and they're green. And Allah gives us all these things so that we can look at them, and appreciate them, and thank Him for it. It's of no benefit to God that we thank Him. If every creature on the earth, ants, snails, humans, platypus, I think, and it comes in tradition that with every raindrop there's an angel. So this is one of the mercies from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and from that mercy, the grass, what's left of it in the city, gets green, and the countryside is beautiful to look at. There's probably no more remarkable of a landscape than in the Bay Area, especially in this time of the year. And the plural of that is like platypi, platypuses. If all of these things were to be as remarkably pious as the Prophet ﷺ, and to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with full praise, none of that would increase God in His essential praiseworthy nature one bit. And if every creation on the earth, from the atomic level to the angelic realm to whatever is above that, was to be as rebellious and despicable as Shaitan, Satan the rejected, it wouldn't decrease Allah's essential greatness and praiseworthiness one bit. But rather, when we sit and we remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and when we try our best to notice and to thank Him for the many gifts that He's given us, all it does is soften our own hearts. And by way of softening our own hearts, it makes